You think you have time? That's the lie. You're living like you have forever, scrolling, waiting, settling. You weren't born to be average. That's not just a motivational line, it's the truth. But somewhere along the way, the world convinced you to settle. It taught you to trade your passion for a paycheck, your dreams for stability, your fire for familiarity. And from the moment you could walk, they told you to follow the rules, play it safe, blend in, stay quiet. And maybe you did. Maybe you've spent years dimming your light just to be accepted, respected, or simply not rejected. But let me ask you something. Has it ever made you feel alive? Or has it made you feel like a stranger in your own life? You didn't come here to survive. You came here to live loudly, boldly, unapologetically. Think about it. There was a time when you believed anything was possible. As a child, you didn't second-guess your imagination. You didn't need permission to dream big. But as you grew older, that fire started fading. Not because it died, but because the world kept pouring cold water on it. Be realistic. That's not practical. What if you fail? And little by little, you began to believe them. You stopped reaching, you stopped trying, you started telling yourself that normal is good enough, but it's not. Because deep down, a voice still whispers, you're meant for more. And you hear it, you feel it. Every day you ignore it, you feel that ache, that restlessness. That's not dissatisfaction. That's your potential begging you to wake up. The truth is, greatness doesn't scream. It doesn't force its way into your life. It waits for you to choose it. But choosing greatness means rejecting comfort. It means walking a road where people might not cheer for you, where success is uncertain and failure is frequent. But that's the price of living a life that actually matters. And the ones who make it, they're not lucky, they're not more talented, they just refuse to settle. They refuse to live a watered-down version of who they could be. And that choice, that fierce, terrifying, relentless choice to be more than average, that's what separates the few who soar from the millions who sleepwalk through life. If you've been feeling stuck, uninspired, disconnected, it's not because you're lost. It's because you're ignoring your own power. You've built a routine that doesn't challenge you, surrounded yourself with people who don't push you, and convinced yourself that wanting more is selfish. It's not. It's necessary. Because when you shrink yourself to fit into a life that doesn't align with your truth, you start dying in pieces. You lose your edge, your creativity dulls, your confidence slips, and suddenly mediocrity feels normal. But let's be very clear, mediocrity is not your destiny. It's a detour, one you can escape from the moment you decide you're done settling. Choosing to rise above average is a declaration. It says, I will not live by default, I will live by design. It says, I will not let fear dictate my future. I will not let society tell me who to be. I will break the mold, even if it means standing alone. And yeah, it's scary. But you know what's even scarier? Waking up one day and realizing you played small your whole life, that you buried your gifts, that you silenced your voice, that you watched time pass and kept waiting for the right moment that never came. The truth is, no one's coming to save you, no one's handing you the life you want. You have to build it, brick by brick, risk by risk, choice by choice. So if you're tired of feeling like something's missing, if you're done living on autopilot, it's time to reclaim your fire, to stop asking for permission and start taking up space. Stop trying to fit in and start standing out. Average is crowded, safe is overrated. You were made for the edge, for the bold, the brave, the breathtaking. You were designed to create, to lead, to shine in a way that makes others uncomfortable. And if that intimidates them, good. Because it means you're finally showing up as the real you. The one who never settles, never plays small, and never forgets who the hell they are. That feeling you get when everything around you seems fine, that's the trap. Comfort feels warm, familiar, safe. But underneath it all, comfort is quiet destruction. It's the soft lullaby that tells you there's no need to try harder, to reach further, to push deeper. It whispers, you've made it far enough. And the most dangerous part, you start believing it. You start calling it peace when it's actually passivity. You mistake stillness for contentment when really it's stagnation. The life you dreamed of doesn't live in comfort, it lives just outside of it. And until you learn to get uncomfortable on purpose, you'll keep circling the same quiet misery over and over again. There is no growth in comfort. That's not just a catchphrase. It's the law of progress. Look at every person you admire, every success story, every trailblazer. Not one of them got there by choosing ease. They walked into rooms where they didn't feel ready. They took on challenges that scared them. They said yes before they had all the answers. Discomfort was their training ground. Pressure shaped them. Failure taught them. You don't become powerful by avoiding hard things. You become powerful by walking through the fire and realizing it didn't burn you, it built you. Comfort will never demand your evolution. Only struggle does that. And yet so many people run from discomfort like it's a curse. They avoid the hard conversation. They postpone the risk. They stay in jobs that drain them, relationships that numb them, routines that suffocate them, all because it's easier to endure the familiar than face the unknown. But listen closely. Easy is expensive. You pay for it with your potential. You sacrifice your passion just to keep things predictable. And eventually that comfort becomes a cage. The walls don't close in overnight. They tighten slowly, subtly, until one day you wake up and wonder where your fire went, where your edge disappeared, why everything feels dull. That's not life. That's survival on mute. The fear of discomfort is the most effective tool mediocrity has. It convinces you that hard equals wrong, that stress means stop, that doubt means danger. But the truth is, everything worth having lives beyond that first layer of fear. You don't build resilience by playing it safe. You build it by falling down and getting back up again and again. You build it by showing up scared, unsure, and unprepared, but showing up anyway. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the invitation. It's your body telling you this matters. This is the edge of everything you've been asking for. And if you back away now, you're saying no to your own breakthrough. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you say no to the future you. The one who's stronger, the one who's wiser, the one who's finally living the life you keep pretending not to want too much. Yes, it's going to be messy. Yes, you're going to be afraid. Yes, you will fail. But guess what? You'll also grow. You learn how deep your courage runs. You'll find out who you really are when no one is watching, when nothing is guaranteed, when everything depends on how much discomfort you're willing to face. That's where real transformation begins. Not in the plan, but in the chaos. Not in comfort, but in the climb. So ask yourself, are you living or are you just coasting? Have you confused comfort with joy? Are you protecting yourself from discomfort so much that you've forgotten what it feels like to be alive? The truth is, the life you want is inconvenient. It's demanding. It's wild, unfiltered, unpredictable, but it's yours. If you're brave enough to go get it. Step out of the bubble, get uncomfortable. Let it stretch you, shake you, expose your limits. Because that's the point. Growth will never be convenient. But it will always, always be worth it. Dreams are not decoration. They're not pretty little ideas meant to be pinned to vision boards or scribbled in notebooks you never open again. Dreams are the assignment your soul came here to fulfill. They're not random. They're wired into your DNA. And yet most people treat their dreams like they're optional, as if they're something to pursue, if they have time, if life gets easier, if the fear goes away. But that's not how this works. Dreams don't wait. Purpose doesn't pause. When you ignore the calling inside you, you don't get peace. You get frustration. That restless feeling that creeps in at night, that's your dream banging on the door, demanding to be let in. The problem is we've been trained to believe that dreams are reckless, irresponsible, unrealistic. From a young age, society plants fear in our ambition. You're told to have a backup plan before you even get the chance to chase plan A. You're told to pick stability over passion, predictability over potential. And if you dare to step outside the script, people start projecting their fear onto your courage. What if it doesn't work? They say. But what if it does? What if you're not crazy for believing in something bigger? What if that dream is the very thing the world needs from you? Too many people have buried their dreams under the weight of other people's doubts, and then they wonder why life feels hollow. Dreams come with a price. They require work, risk, sacrifice, and an insane amount of faith. But so does regret. There's a cost either way. You just get to choose when you pay it. Chase your dream now and you pay with sweat, failure, time, discomfort. Ignore it and you pay with what-ifs, lost years, and a voice in your head that never stops whispering, you were made for more. So many people wait for the perfect moment to start, the right timing, the right resources, the right mindset. But perfection is a stall tactic. It's just fear in disguise. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a decision. You need to say, this matters too much. To wait. When a dream is real, it doesn't let go. You might try to push it away, distract yourself, tell yourself you're fine with a smaller life, but it will find you. In quiet moments, in the silence between tasks, in the pit of your stomach when someone else is doing the thing you know you're meant to do. That dream will sit in your chest like a stone until you move toward it. And the longer you wait, the heavier it gets. You don't lose dreams overnight. You lose them slowly by telling yourself not yet one too many times. But let me remind you, your dream is still alive. It's not too late. It's just waiting for you to stop doubting and start doing. It doesn't matter how big your dream is. It matters how committed you are to it. It's because talent without action is wasted. Vision without execution is just fantasy. And no one else is going to carry your dream for you. It's yours for a reason. It's personal. It's sacred. That means you can't outsource it. You can't copy someone else's path. And you sure as hell can't wait for validation before you begin. The only way to bring your dream to life is to get obsessed with it.
Get stubborn.
Get relentless. Let it consume your focus, your energy, your time. Let it scare you. Let it stretch you. Because that's when the magic happens. Not when you feel ready, but when you decide you're done playing small. The truth is, dreams are not just about success. They're about becoming. Chasing a dream forces you to evolve into the kind of person who can handle it. You build grit. You learn resilience. You sharpen your voice. You find out who you are outside the noise, outside the rules, outside the limits you didn't even know you had. A dream, fully lived, transforms you. It demands more than you thought you had, and then shows you you're capable of even more. That's the gift, that's the reward. Not just the destination, but the version of you who rises along the way. So if you've got a dream that won't leave you alone, stop waiting. You're not crazy. You're not being unrealistic. You're being called. Everyone wants it, the dream, the success, the transformation. Everyone talks about vision boards, affirmations, setting intentions. And yes, clarity matters. Belief matters. But none of it means anything without discipline. That's the real difference between those who make it and those who don't. It's not talent, it's not timing, it's not luck. It's the relentless commitment to show up day after day, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is what turns desire into results. It's what keeps you going when the motivation dies out. Because it will. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is built. And once it's built, it becomes the backbone of every success story that ever existed. People romanticize success as this magical moment that just happens. As if one breakthrough, one post, one big opportunity is all it takes. But the truth? Success is boring. It's repetitive. It's unglamorous. It's waking up earlier than you want, grinding when no one's watching, doing the hard things no one claps for. It's writing one more page, making one more call, hitting one more rep. Discipline is not exciting, it's effective. It's the slow burn that compounds over time, stacking small wins until suddenly you've built something powerful. But most people give up before that tipping point. Not because they weren't capable, but because they weren't consistent. And that's where most people fall apart. They think discipline is about being in the mood. They think it's about feeling inspired. But discipline has nothing to do with how you feel. It's a decision you make long before the struggle shows up. It's deciding that your goals matter more than your excuses, that your future matters more than your comfort, that the life you want is worth the sacrifice it demands. It's choosing structure when chaos feels easier. It's saying no when it would be so easy to say yes. And most importantly, it's keeping promises to yourself. Because every time you say you'll do something and don't, you lose trust with the one person you need most. You. Let's be honest. Discipline is uncomfortable. It's not natural to wake up early, to push your limits, to delay gratification. But that's the point. Growth never happens in comfort. And discipline is the engine that drives that growth. It's the inner voice that says, I don't want to, but I will. It's taking action in the face of resistance. It's choosing the gym over the couch, the book over the scroll, the hard conversation over silence. And it's not about being perfect. You will slip. You will have days when you fall short. But discipline isn't destroyed by failure. It's built by getting back up again and again and again. What most people don't realize is that discipline creates freedom. That sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. The more disciplined you are, the more options you create, the more control you have over your time, your energy, your results. Without discipline, you're a prisoner to your emotions, to your habits, to your distractions. But with it, you become unstoppable. You stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it. You stop reacting to life and start leading it, because discipline is self-respect in action. It's you saying, I deserve more and I'm willing to work for it. And when you own that, everything changes. So if you're serious about changing your life, stop chasing shortcuts. Stop looking for hacks and start building habits. Show up when you're tired. Show up when no one's watching. Show up when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, even painful. That's the difference. That's where progress lives. Not in the highlight reel, but in the discipline behind the scenes. And if you're willing to choose that, to commit to the grind, to lean into the boring, to become the kind of person who finishes what they start, then the life you want isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Because discipline doesn't just build success, it builds you. You can't keep blaming the world for where you are. You can't keep pointing fingers at your past, your parents, your environment, your circumstances. Because here's the hard truth. The moment you become an adult, your life becomes your responsibility. Yes, people may have failed you. Yes, things may have happened that weren't your fault. But healing, growth, change, that's all on you. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to hand you a better life. If you want transformation, you have to claim it. Not wish for it, not wait for it, not beg for it. Claim it. Own your pain, own your story, and then rise from it. Taking responsibility is not about guilt or shame. It's about power. Because as long as you keep saying it's because of them, you're handing your power away. You're saying that your future depends on someone else fixing your past. But what if they never do? What if the apology never comes? What if the support never shows up? Then what? Do you stay stuck forever? No. You rise anyway. You take back control. You stop letting pain define you and start letting it refine you. That's what self-responsibility is. It's refusing to be a victim of your life and choosing to be the architect of it. The moment you accept full ownership of your choices, your mindset, your habits, that's the moment everything changes. Suddenly, you're not at the mercy of the world anymore. You become the driver. You stop waiting for the right timing, the perfect partner, the dream job. You start building, you start deciding, you start rewriting the story you've been stuck in for far too long. And that's when you realize it was never about what happened to you. It was always about what you chose to do with it. That's the difference between people who grow and people who repeat. One group takes responsibility, the other takes excuses. And let's be real, excuses are seductive. They feel good in the moment. They protect your ego. They let you off the hook. I'm too tired. I wasn't raised that way. No one ever taught me. And maybe those things are true, but they're still not valid reasons to stay where you are. Because for every excuse you cling to, there's someone else with the same story, or worse, who made a different choice. Someone who broke the cycle, built the life, changed the narrative. Why? Because they stopped waiting for the world to change and decided to change themselves. Responsibility doesn't mean you won't fall. It means you won't stay down. It doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you get stronger. You learn how to adapt, how to shift, how to lead yourself through chaos. You become the kind of person who doesn't wait to be inspired. You create your own momentum. You stop needing motivation from others because you trust your own voice, your own vision. That's the power of responsibility. It's not a burden, it's a weapon. One that, once you pick it up, turns every obstacle into a stepping stone, every failure into feedback, every doubt into drive. So if you're sitting there feeling stuck, overwhelmed, lost, it's time to ask yourself the real question. Am I taking responsibility for my life? Or am I waiting for someone to do it for me? Because growth starts with ownership. Change starts with truth. And success? It starts with the decision to stop running from your reflection and start doing the damn work. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're finally ready to ask better questions. That's what separates the ones who evolve from the ones who evaporate. Not luck, not privilege, not fate. Responsibility. We are living in the loudest era in history. Notifications buzzing, opinions flying, content flooding your feed 24/7. Everyone has something to say, everyone wants to be seen, and in the middle of all that noise, most people forget who they are. They lose themselves in the scroll, in the comparison, in the pressure to be everything to everyone. But let me tell you something you might have forgotten. Silence is power. Solitude is sacred. Reflection is a requirement. Because if you don't take time to look inward, the world will decide your identity for you. It will label you, define you, distract you, and you'll wake up one day performing a life instead of living one. There's a difference between movement and direction. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're building something real. Just because you're loud doesn't mean you're heard. So many people are addicted to activity, running in circles, chasing validation, numbing out with distractions, because it's easier than sitting alone with your own thoughts. But clarity doesn't come from chaos. It comes from stillness. It comes from cutting through the noise long enough to ask yourself, what do I actually want? What matters to me? Who am I when no one's watching? Those questions can't be answered in a rush. You have to sit with them. And most people are terrified of what they might hear. You'll never hear your inner voice if it's constantly being drowned out by the world. You can't align with your purpose if you're constantly checking for likes, follows, and approval. That's not growth. That's dependency. You become addicted to applause. You start shaping your life around what looks good, not what feels right. And that's a dangerous game. Because when your sense of self is external, it's always unstable. One bad day, one rude comment, one lost opportunity, and you crumble. But when you know who you are, when you've done the deep work of reflection and truth-telling and cutting out the noise, you become unshakable. Reflection isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's how leaders are made. It's how legacies are built. Every strong voice, every grounded presence, every unstoppable force you've ever admired. Those people didn't get that strength from talking louder. They got it from going deeper. From turning off the world and tuning into themselves. From asking hard questions and making honest changes. Reflection is how you recalibrate. It's how you stay aligned when life pulls you in every direction. Without it, you're just reacting. With it, you're responding. With intention, with clarity, with power. We live in a time where being alone is often seen as a problem. But solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is where your soul breathes. It's where your ideas come alive. It's where your boundaries strengthen. Some of the most important breakthroughs in your life will happen when no one else is in the room. And if you never make space for that silence, you'll keep chasing everyone else's version of success. You'll build a life that looks good in pictures but feels empty on the inside. So take the walk alone. Write the journal entry. Shut off the noise. Not forever, but long enough to hear you again. Because here's the truth. You already have the answers. You already know what needs to change. You already know what you've been avoiding, but knowing isn't the problem, listening is. And you can't listen when you're constantly running, scrolling, numbing, hiding. So create space, guard it fiercely. Make reflection a daily habit, not a once-a-year crisis. Because the most powerful people you'll ever meet, they're not the loudest. They're the ones who know themselves so deeply that nothing outside of them can shake what's inside. And that kind of power, it's built in silence. It's built in solitude. It's built in the mirror you've been avoiding. Time is the most valuable thing you have, and it's the one thing you can't get back. You can rebuild your finances. You can repair relationships. You can recover from failure. But once time is gone, it's gone. Yet somehow, we act like we have forever. We scroll through our days, we procrastinate on our goals. We say someday like it's a promise instead of a trap. But the clock doesn't care about your excuses. Every second you spend living small, hiding your truth, ignoring your calling, you're paying for it with your life. Because that's what time is. Life passing you by in real time, moment by moment, breath by breath. People keep waiting for the right time to start. Start the project, start the conversation, start living. But there is no perfect time, there's only now. And the truth is, the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Not because the opportunity disappears, but because you do. You start to forget what you wanted. You stop trusting yourself. You build a habit of delay, and that habit becomes a life. It starts with little things. I'll do it tomorrow, I'll try next week, and before you know it, years have passed. Not because you chose the wrong path, but because you never chose at all. Indecision is a slow death. It doesn't show up all at once, it creeps in. Wasting time doesn't always look like laziness. Sometimes it's overthinking. Sometimes it's staying stuck in a job you hate. Sometimes it's being busy with the wrong things, the wrong people, the wrong priorities. You convince yourself you're doing your best because your schedule is full, but activity isn't progress. Busyness isn't purpose. You can be grinding 12 hours a day and still be going nowhere. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely disconnected from who you are. That's not living. That's surviving. And you weren't born to survive, you were born to live. We spend so much time worrying about what other people will think, what might go wrong, what we're not ready for. Meanwhile, the days keep slipping away. Fear becomes the thief that steals your time in disguise. It dresses itself up as caution, as logic, as preparation, but fear doesn't want you to think. It wants you to freeze. It wants you to waste another month, another year, another decade, waiting for courage to magically arrive. But courage doesn't come first, action does. You don't become brave by thinking about being brave. You become brave by doing the thing anyway, even with shaky hands, even with a racing heart, even when your voice trembles. And let's be clear, honoring your time doesn't mean you never rest. It means you rest on purpose. It means you're intentional. It means you stop giving your time to people who don't value it. Stop pouring your energy into things that drain you. Stop saying yes when you really mean no. You start treating your time like the sacred, limited resource it is. You protect it, you direct it, you invest it in things that actually build you, that move you, that reflect the life you say you want. Because if your calendar doesn't match your vision, it's not a vision, it's a fantasy. So ask yourself right now, where is your time going? What are you saying yes to that doesn't deserve you? What would your life look like if you stopped wasting hours on regret, distraction, fear, or denial and started using them to build, to grow, to become? Because time is not just ticking, it's speaking, it's asking you every single day, Are you choosing your life or are you just letting it happen? The answer to that question will write your legacy, not your intentions, not your plans, your choices. And if you don't own your time, it will be owned for you by everything and everyone that doesn't care what it costs. So now you have a choice. You can keep sleepwalking through your days, letting fear lead, letting doubt dictate, letting comfort choke the fire out of your potential. Or you can wake up. You can decide right here, right now, that your life is worth more than distractions, more than hesitation, more than playing small. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you purpose, power, or peace. You have to take it. You have to fight for it. And the moment you do, everything shifts. Because once you wake up, truly wake up, you see the truth. You realize you were never lacking, you were never too late, you were never broken, you were just distracted from your own greatness. But now, you see it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So, don't go back to sleep. Don't settle. Don't shrink. This is your moment, your turning point, your wake-up call.